Hey everyone, I'm Priscilla and this is Stories with Pris, where I tell the stories that you need to hear. And it's so great to have you with me. This is my first episode and I will be reading Mystery Blaze by yours truly. How exciting! This podcast is completely written, narrated and produced by me. To keep bringing you great stories, feel free to support me on Patreon. Now, let's begin. Malfoy soared through the cool and crisp sky that was not long ago blanketed by the stars. He swept over the river, quickly taking notice of how his iridescent scales sparkled over the water. It gave him a small speck of joy as he flew higher over the forest, awakening the slumbering trees. A strange note of despair bounced across the large mass of foliage, causing Malfoy to become alarmed. His large, pointed ear darted to the east as the shrieks grew louder. He swooped down to the ground, only to be met with a harrowing sight: a distressed small child. Malfoy's eyes widened in shock, and their ruby-red glow made the child jump. "Please do not be alarmed, child. I only seek to help you." His voice softly rumbled. The child began to wail even louder whilst wiping their nose on their smudged and frayed sleeve. "Child, what makes you cry so?" Malfoy inquired. He then glanced not too far from the child past an encroaching tree to discover a relatively young woman slain, sword in hand. Her once fluffy curls drenched in crimson. She appeared to have protected the child to the very end. Malfoy bowed his head out of respect, then looked over to the child who had edged closer to him. He stretched out his wing to pull the little one in and set his throat ablaze ever so slightly to warm them up. Within seconds, the shivering child fell asleep. He figured they were probably exhausted from the recent events. A tear slowly rolled down his cheek as he felt great sympathy for the child. After a few hours, Malfoy slowly woke up, realizing that he'd dozed off with the small child. Looking down at them, he watched the child peacefully breathing with their thumb in their mouth. A warm feeling of pride took over him. This wonderful emotion was then suddenly broken by a sharp prick at the back of his head. It was a fiery arrow. Another one then whizzed past his ear. He instantly jumped up in an alert fashion to look around and locked eyes onto several attackers armed with bows, arrows, and swords. "We're in trouble. I've got to protect the little one," Malfoy thought to himself as he towered over the attackers, and they marveled with fear at how large he appeared on his hind legs. He tucked the child safely under a nearby tree, turned back to the attackers and charged up his fiery throat. It was akin to a blazing furnace, and his eyes mirrored his sheer rage. They were attacking him to get to the child. Arrows kept pelting him and causing him to grunt furiously. Malfoy lifted up his front leg, went to swipe at the mercenaries, and was taken aback as they were all mysteriously lifted up into the air without his doing. They wailed loudly, flailing about in sheer terror. Malfoy scanned the area, confused as to what or who could be the culprit. The little child had walked out from behind the tree, exuding a powerful yet celestial green glow. Their woven cap that covered their hair had come off, revealing long, shiny curls. The child was a girl. Her hair floated in suspension, and her eyes beamed a white light, also illuminating her aura. Malfoy became shocked and confused. What type of child was she? Is this why the attackers had come for her? "You need to come with us, girl," yelled another. "No, I'm not going anywhere with you. You killed my sister," she rebutted, whilst waving her arms, making them rise even higher into the air. Just as she was about to launch them into the distant forest to never return, her arms were instantly drawn behind her back, and she was slammed to the ground by yet another invisible force. She was overpowered and couldn't move. Malfoy heard shuffling from the trees, and out walked a being with an outstretched arm whilst glaring at the little girl. He was draped with an ashy grey robe, covering shiny charcoal skin that glistened ever so slightly under the almost disappearing moon. He had no nose, large, deep purple eyes along with a smooth, bald head. His presence left a troubling essence in the air. Malfoy lunged fiercely at the mysterious being, and within a split second, a wave of their other arm stopped Malfoy mid-air as if he had lunged into an invisible brick wall. He fell with great force and lay on the ground close to the little girl. The villainous being walked over to the both of them, standing over them with a disgusted countenance. He then looked at the little girl in spite. Sparkers. A thorn in my side. I thought I got rid of your nests, and yet here you are, still about. Like vermin, hard to eliminate and always come back. They turned to Malfoy. And you? Why take such a risk for her? By the look of you, I can tell you are a celestial being. Why take pity on such a rat? Do not talk about her like that. She's just an innocent child, said Malfoy, determined to defend the girl. Innocent? Nothing is innocent about Sparkers, always congregating, whispering, constantly up to something. Never mind that now. You're coming with me. You won't get up to your shifty antics anymore once I'm done with you, girl. And as for your sister, is she really your sister? She didn't have powers like you. Either way, she got what she deserved, associating with you. The odd being let out a maniacal laugh. More attackers revealed themselves from out of the trees, moving in to take Malfoy and the girl away. They were then tied up with rope whilst powerless to move. They were then led off into the forest, perhaps to their doom. Malfoy had a plan, nevertheless. He was also going to fight for this powerful girl to the very end. Hope you enjoyed that. Feel free to let me know how you found it in the comments below, or catch me on social media by searching Stories with Pris. Till the next episode!